again, I think boxing won. That's really all that matters. I think the judges got it right. I think Lopez fought a great fight. And to be honest with you, this fight is giving me Taylor versus Hopkins 1 vibes. Remember the big controversy about, Taylor winning the first half of the fight and Hopkins winning the championship rounds? I think it's getting that kind of vibes. But, once again, I personally think Lopez stepped it up. I think Lomachenko did it too late. And I personally feel that, in my opinion, I would love to see a rematch. That's my take on it.
We can't. I think a rematch is warranted. But Jules, I gotta say, I love you, brother, and I'm glad I pushed you because I think you made a good prediction. I think Lomachenko wasn't able to move, just like when I made you sit down and actually pick somebody. You picked the right person, and you kind of picked the right reason as to why he won.
Lucas, I'll tell you one thing, though, man. If it was going to be a draw, I was going to be furious. Because the first thing I said was draw. I was like, oh, my God, if they say split draw, I'm going to be so mad. Because Lucas put a gun to my head and was like, you better pick Jules. So, but, yeah, I mean, as I said, I think, and it's not taking anything away from Lomachenko. I don't think, in my opinion, I'm seeing a lot of people talk about, like, Lomachenko was overhyped, which is crazy. I mean, I'm actually going to think about writing an article about it. But I really don't think so. I think Lomachenko just met a guy, in my opinion, who even he probably underestimated, the fight IQ of Lopez. I mean, Lopez was brilliant. Coming off that ring, every time Lomachenko would be at an angle, there'd be Lopez right there in front of him. And I think it took him back a little bit.
Yeah, I think everybody underestimated him. Sorry, host, go ahead.
Well, Jules, if you're going to write an article about Lomo being a hype job, start with me. Because that's exactly what he is.
Oh, my God.
And that's what I told
you.
And that's what I told y'all. And that's what I told y'all a year ago. That's exactly what I told y'all a year ago. So just when I start to believe the hype and think that Lopez is not the man to do it, he proves me wrong. So I got a new nickname here for Lomo or Lomachenko, and he's going to go right into our next topic. What is next? So Javi, which is late, of course, when he comes on the air, his nickname for Lomo is Lomo the God. Well, mine is No Mo Lomo. Because there is no more Lomo out there for me,
man.
ladies and gentlemen. With that being said, Shakura, where do you see him going next?
Well, first of all, I mean, I have never seen anybody flip-flop this fast ever in the history of heavyweight boxing. I mean, literally in the history of boxing, probably. I mean, you have just like totally went from like, okay, Lomo is a hype job to no, Lomo's the God. Now you're back saying that he's overrated. I'm done with you and all of the Lomo talk. You are too late to try to like switch now. You gotta just eat it. Stop up. You made that choice to predict Loma, and you don't want to accept it. So now it's in your mind. It's better to go ahead and say, "Oh, he was a hype job the entire time," than just say, "I got it wrong."
I didn't realize how many Loma haters there were until he lost this fight.
Dude, there are a lot on Twitter. Yeah, they can't stand him. It's crazy how, they're trying to put up this guy like he's all hype. And what's crazy is, once again, I was going to put it in the article, but I'm like, this is one of the first fighters I've ever seen that the matchmaker doesn't have to do any work. Like, I feel like a lot of boxing people who are quote-unquote experts or who are into the sport don't really understand a matchmaker's job for a promoter. When they have a fighter who they feel is going to be it, their job is to match them up carefully, okay? So they can be 18-0, 19-0, 20-0, okay? They can push that record, okay? And then all of a sudden, when they're fighting a championship fight, you have it, oh, this kid is 22-0 with 21 knockouts, but he fought like 13, 14, cab drivers, right? You understand what I'm saying? Lomachenko, he's a matchmaker's dream because you have to do no work. He's literally like, okay, I'm going to fight this guy for the championship on my second fight. I'm going to fight this guy who, has, more wins than losses. It's crazy what he did. You have to respect that.
I mean, everybody's downplaying Loma, but I upgrade Lopez. That's the way I'm doing this because
I agree.
Lopez was able to work hand in hand or foot by foot, I should say, as far as with Lomachenko goes. He was able to hang with him as far as ring generalship is concerned. He, like you said, he was able to cut off the ring, and that's one thing I actually thought there's no way he'd be able to do. Lomachenko, I thought, had the best feet.
You guys wouldn't listen to me. I said he had skills. But everybody, that's what happens when you're good at this one thing and people keep seeing you display the power, and then they make this mistake of just feeling like you're all power when, in fact, we saw that he does have a lot of skill. So I think that's what happened with the whole people underestimating Lopez. They thought he was like a one-trick situation where it's just...
Oh, absolutely not. No, not at all. If you look at him, he actually executes the shoulder roll pretty damn good. When I watched him against Kami in some of his earlier fights, I was impressed. I was like, wow, this is a guy who obviously, I don't know what he's raised on, but he's obviously not raised in that Mayweather, James Toney school of trainers where, the shoulder roll or the Philly shell, to be, more accurate, you know what I mean, is part of that training camp. But he executes it pretty damn good. And when I saw that earlier in his career, I said, you know what, man, this kid has skills.
Yeah, but he did make a mistake in this fight. He tried to go to the shoulder roll too early, and Andre Ward pointed it out in the fight when he tried to go to it too early. However, I'm gonna take the blame on this one because the question wasn't answered, and I feel like it's because y'all wanted to attack me.
Well,
but it's okay. And what I said,
I don't know about them.
But I'm going to say, I'm going to rebuttal, and then I'm going to ask the question again and see if we can get back on that topic. But I'm going to rebuttal first, though. No. We thought that Lopez couldn't cut off the ring. We thought that Lopez couldn't possess these great skills that he showed in the ring against Momo because of who he was supposed to be facing. And if you put a guy to that level that everybody put Lomachenko on, he proved to us he's ordinary. He proved to us he's very ordinary in the ring. And that's why Lopez was able to win this fight.
He's not ordinary, sir. Lomachenko's feet work is what really set this apart for me. Look, it was nullified. See, you didn't see it, but it was nullified by Lopez. Really well, actually. And I knew Lopez could move. I just didn't think he'd be able to keep up with Lomachenko.
All right, then let me ask you this then. If that's the case, why is that all you have to bring to the table?
Honestly, that was the name of the game. If you watch the first 7 rounds that Lopez won unanimously, that's what came from it. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jules, but that was what I was noticing more than anything is that he couldn't turn him. He was trying, he just couldn't turn him.
So you want to know
why? Not get I'm sorry.
I just want to ask you this then, Jules. So if that's the case, Lucas, I heard this quote, and I can't say it directly came from Lomo, but it sounds like what happened. And the quote said, "Oh, I won the fight. I collected data for 11 straight rounds." That's all he did. You can't win a fight just by collecting data. And that's all he did.
Wait
Jules,
a minute.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jules.
What were you going to say to my comment for that?
Seriously, though. He had the plan that he was going to allow some of that steam to, settle down off some of the power that T.O. has. And then start working. I just came into the, realization that, basically it should have been earlier. Wait it out a little bit, but start way earlier. You can't start an onslaught in the 8th round and think that, that's going to generate all these points, that you need to win. So to me, he was trying to, the game plan to me was that he was always that he was going to try to wait a little bit before he engaged, and came on the inside with T.O. Because he wanted to make sure that some of that power and that sting and that fresh, young, power was gone, or at least settled a little bit. So, I understood the reason why he was, kind of waiting it out. And they were doing a lot of it was very highly skilled. It was like a step-for-step type situation going on for some rounds. But, you can't wait that late in the game, the second half, in the fight, in the second half and think that you're going to be able to still come out with a victory. I mean, it's not going to happen.
So, Jules, what were you going to say, bud?
Well, actually, no. Let me piggyback off of Sakura, actually, because she made a great point, which I was going to mention. And one thing I know I'm going to sound like I'm backpedaling, but in terms of power, right, even though we said that Lopez only had was power, I think that when he was hitting Lomachenko, and Lomachenko felt it, because remember, guys, he did get rocked a couple times, actually. And I think what happened was the reason why he didn't put it on early, because he said, you know what, I got dropped by Linares, and Lopez is probably obviously the bigger puncher. So if I go in reckless at the third, fourth, fifth round, I'm going to be flat out on my back. I think that's what he realized. I personally felt that he was taking a modified Ali versus Foreman approach. Say, okay, you know what? This kid obviously can't put up this work rate, right? This kid is going to fade. Okay, so let me stay away. If I got to eat a couple of shots, I eat a couple of shots. I'll see what I can do. I felt that he turned it up because he thought that Lopez was getting tired towards the middle to the later rounds, and that Lopez would mentally break down because of his conditioning. And that's why I gave Lopez a lot of credit, because when Lomachenko was putting up that onslaught in the middle rounds and he was coming, and sometimes Lomachenko was hitting on the break a little bit, you know what I mean? Lopez stepped up, and he showed that not only is he mentally tough, that, you know, he has the conditioning, you know, to go to the later rounds. And I think that's the reality. I think Lopez felt that. Lomachenko felt Lopez's power and said, you know what? I can't go in early. I go in early. I'm going to be in another universe somewhere, you know, with the Avengers. I don't know what's going to happen to me, but I cannot go in early. So let me buy my time, let him tire himself out, and then I'll pick it up. Lopez didn't fade, and I think Lomachenko, he underestimated the conditioning of him.
And I agree with you, Jules, that that's exactly what happened, and there's a word for it. It's called being scared. However, let's go back to the topic within the question. Man. Where does I want to know both sides. I want to know, where does Lopez go now from here, and where do you see Lomo going now from here?
Well, we do have some questions here. We got Gene General saying Lopez's first Tank. He wants to know what we think about that fight first. I'll let you take it from there, Rob.
No, that's exactly what I want to know, guys. Lopez Tank next? Where do we want to see him next? Lucas, you want to start?
I mean, I'll definitely see Lopez Tank. I mean, I think there's a lot of fights in this division to be made. Me personally, I say run it back. I before even Lopez Tank. That's what I want to see. I want to see it, you know, ran back. This was a good fight. I think a second fight would be different, but that's just me. I want to see how many of you guys agree with me and would actually favor Lomachenko in a second fight.
Let's go to Shakur. Yeah.
Javi, I seen you talking, but we can't hear you.
So, I mean, basically, I personally don't feel like I need to see a second fight. If we didn't need to see a Showtime Porter versus Spence fight rematch, I don't see why we would need to see this one. Now, when I was going for Showtime, because I said he had too many rounds racked up in the beginning of the fight through the later rounds to lose a fight based on one knockdown, everybody was like, no, he lost, come on, blah, blah, blah. Now, here we go, we see the same thing in this fight. But everybody apparently wants a rematch that is a Lomachenko fan.
I don't know, I want to see a rematch for Spence Porter, too.
Well,
yeah, same here.
With that being said, my point was going to be that, you know, obviously we ain't going to see a rematch probably, because the whole reason that Lomachenko wanted to do this fight now, to me, is so that he could then drop back down in weight where he's been wanting to go for quite some time. Unless I guess we're going to find out. If the only way I can see that is if he really is thinking like, I still could have a chance to get all these unification, all the belts in this unification that he's been wanting. So I guess we're gonna find out how much he really wants, though, another chance at these titles. But Tio, he sounds like he's ready to move on from that. It doesn't sound like he's interested in a rematch. So I mean, there would be a lot that would have to be worked out.
Yeah, I don't know.
Actually,
it sounds a little immature for me. Go ahead, Jules. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, I think he actually said he would. I think he said he would be. He would entertain a rematch. I mean, listen, it's all about the money with these guys, right? So if they come back with a nice sum of money for him, you know what I mean? I don't see why Lopez wouldn't. But I know Robbie didn't pick on me, but I'll just go forward. In terms of the options, I feel like, which Sakura said, I think Lomachenko probably is going to move back down. But I also feel that a part of him will probably want a rematch, only for the fact that it's just the big thing is shoulder gate. They're saying that he just had shoulder surgery recently, Lomachenko. Again, yeah, that's been the biggest thing right now on Twitter. So it could be a possible thing where he's like, you know what, my shoulder wasn't there, and I can beat him with 100% if I had the opportunity. So who knows? I mean, and in terms of Lopez, I actually love to. I've been asking for like a year for him and Devin Haney. I wanted him to fight Devin Haney for a while, but that is a fight that you can marinate. So I don't see that fight happening for another maybe year or two, because these guys are still undefeated, and I can see them trying to milk that in a year or two, so it's a bigger payday. But I would like to see that, or obviously the winner of Lopez versus Tank versus Gamboa, which is pretty much Tank. So I like to see him versus Tank.
There is no way that T.O. can remain at lightweight for 2 more years. So I hope they do not try to play that little game. I mean,
right? But can Haney stay at lightweight for 2 more years? That's the question. Because I feel like Haney can outgrow that weight. I feel like if they do make the fight, it'll be that 147.
I mean, I'm glad you brought that up, because I think T.O.'s size played a big part into the fight. I mean, he's already he's big. Let's face it, Sakura, as you call them, weight bullies. You admit it.
Yeah, that's my favorite. I would say, I have an issue with weight bullies, but guess what? They both look the same height in there. Not that much difference in height. They didn't look like Tio didn't blow up to be like as big as people thought he would either. And the thing of it is that we see rounds that Lomachenko won. So size wasn't an issue then. So how is it that we're gonna say that size was a big issue, but we see rounds where it didn't make that big of a difference, and Lomachenko was able to win. So I mean those rounds. So I don't see it that way.
Okay,
and no knockdown. I mean, there was no knockdown at all.
Let's see, Rafa Gonzalez.
That means that there wasn't a size difference. There was no knockdown because the man is a defensive genius. But Lomachenko failed the shots coming in.
Real quick, Javi, hold on real quick. I'm going to get to you, I promise. I just want Lucas to get to the fan reaction real quick.
Rafa Gonzalez says, even when he got hit, I think in the 8th round, Lopez knew how to tie up. He did pull some veteran moves. Lomachenko versus Haney, different styles, make different fights. Lopez versus winner of Ryan versus Campbell.
Okay, thank you. Now, Javi, go in. I want to hear everything you got to say. Everything, because you got some explaining to do.
And turn your volume up a little bit, because I'm having a hard time hearing you, Javi.
Okay, hold on. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I was saying is that I don't think there was any knockdowns, because Lomachenko is defensive. He's responsible with his defense. Now, he was being tagged coming in, like usually when he do his pivots to the right, to the left, and that wasn't happening because the counter body shots that Lopez was giving him, fast and powerful, had him thinking a few times. And whenever he gets his momentum, he'll have to go back to reset and try to fight another way, because Lopez was there. He wasn't really giving him much. He did win some rounds, but I think size played a difference. Power, strength, speed. I think out of all of the advantages that Lopez had, speed was the one that gave him the most trouble. I don't think he was expecting that type of fast, explosive, fast twitch muscles that Lopez showed, basically. Not only attacking but also countering. Being responsible with his defense. Because he got hit whenever Lomachenko got the pressure, but it wasn't like he was hitting flush 2 or 3 shots. like some other or his opponents been been getting hit before. But I believe that Lomachenko top at 135. He's already pushing like past his limit. He's already chewing a little bit more than what I'm saying, biting more than he can chew at 135. And the same goes for Lopez. Lopez is already at the point where 135 is getting dangerous to make. You know what I'm saying? He's getting muscular, he's getting bigger, he's ready for 140. He'll dehydrate himself a little less, I'm guessing. But I think Lomachenko will go to 130 and try to bring history in there, or do what he try to do at 135. And I believe Lopez has all the potential to wipe up 140.
I mean, Lopez came in with a perfect game plan for Lomachenko, and to do that to Lomachenko says a lot about who he is. One, like I said, his feet were always in the right place, and he was keeping a ranging jab. He wasn't really landing much with it, of course, but it was keeping him in his face, keeping him a little off balance, and out of range. I mean, kept him out of range those whole first 6-7 rounds. So, I mean, after that, yeah, Lomachenko did pick it up, and guess what? That's only reason was, one, desperation, and two, he was finally starting to gas a little bit.
Yeah.
But
I think
it wasn't really like bad until the 11th when you could really see he was sucking wind through a straw.
Yeah.
But let me tell you,
right.
The thing I was most impressed with Lopez is that power was still there and was there very strong in the 12th round.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So even at the end of the fight, his power was definitely there.
And honestly, I thought Jules going to be pissed at me because I really thought, at least according to my unofficial scorecard, I thought he was going to be super pissed at me for making him pick, because if Lomachenko came out and won that 12th round, like I thought he was going to, especially after the way he looked in the 11th round, I was like, Lomachenko's coming out, getting this 12th round, and it's going to be a draw, and I'm going to hear Jules just be like, you son of a bitch.
So that's
what I texted him. That's what I texted Lucas. Lucas, I texted you right after the fight was over. I said, Lucas, if this is a draw, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to be so mad.
So let's go into that. Let's do that for the next topic here, guys, is the actual scorecards. So that's really a controversial topic right now. But here's the twist I want to put on it. It was controversial for Lomo, because Lomo actually thought he did enough to win the fight. It was controversial to everybody else because of the wide margin. Jules, I already heard you. You said you scored it like 7 rounds. Me and Lucas said it after the fight where we had scored. I scored it 8-4. Lucas, you had
115, 113.
Lucas had it closer at 115, 113. In my personal opinion, I felt like if you gave Lomachenko more than 5 rounds, then I felt like you were being biased towards Lomachenko, personally. Now, with that being said, the official judges scored, and the main one that everybody's talking about is Miss Julie Letterman.
Okay, hold on, Rob. Before we get to Letterman's scorecard, what do you think about Terrence Bud Crawford scoring at a draw? What do you think about Andre Ward scoring at a draw?
Biased.
Biased? Why? Why would they be biased?
Andre Ward made a huge mistake in judging that scorecard. They made a huge mistake in letting Andre Ward score that card because they were being biased. And why are they being biased? Because of people like Javi on here talking about Lomachenko the God.
The God, baby.
That's why they were being biased. That's why Bud Crawford is being biased. They're all being biased towards the man, okay? He didn't even get into double-digit punches until the 8th fucking round. Until the 8th round.
I thought it was because they probably both had, did these predictions. Like Andre Ward went on Max Kellerman's show and he was like,
exactly.
Oh, it's Loma, and they were just trying to make it not look so bad that their predictions were like off quite a bit. So,
but it's not quite a bit. Like I said, I had 115, 113. I think it's a very fair scorecard. If you disagree with my scorecard, it is posted on our social media. Please let me know which rounds that I scored so horribly. It was a close fight. Everybody, the 119, 109, which we're going to get to, Rob, with Letterman, that's a farce. And, you know, she just needs to be let go out of boxing out of just that one fight alone.
Wow.
No,
One round. You talking one round, Sakura. Come on, that's incompetence at the highest level.
Excuse me. You know what? I was like, you know what? I'm gonna say now. I wouldn't have done that to the man. Okay, I wouldn't have. I saw some good rounds, some work for him. I did initially have 3 rounds for Loma, but then I went back a second time, Lucas, after looking at your version. And I went back to that 8th round, and I was like, okay, I would rather be him in that round. I would rather be Loma. So then I changed mine to 4. But there's no way I'm giving him the second round off a combination punch, like with 1 minute left in the round, you know, after Lopez has had his way. And I want to get to that Julie situation because I went to CompuBox. Guess what round it is that Lomachenko actually had more punches than Lopez. It's the 11th round.
Well, the 11th round, a blind man knew that Lomachenko won the 11th.
Hold on. But my point is, you guys are acting like this lady came up with this off left field somewhere, like she just made it up in her mind. You know, Lopez, or we're looking at his cell phone doing the judging. Oh, wait, that was somebody else that did that.
We did see that this weekend.
yes, right. But we want to talk about Julie, right? Because it's always the females. So I went and I had to look it up because I was like, well, what other rounds did Lomachenko punch more than Lopez?
Okay, you're verifying the 11th round, but what about the rest of them?
Correct.
That's the problem.
Those were the rounds that he did not win the count punch for each round.
Count punch is not how you win. That's not how professional fighters score. This is not the amateurs, Sakura. This is different.
Can I finish? Let me finish. My point is that she's not coming up with this out of thin air, and she just had a bad night.
You're right. Maybe she just looked off CompuBox.
Well, she probably counted her own punch records, and she knows that Tio is punching the harder punches, which, as you pointed out, that's how professional bouts are done, right? Who normally professional judges are going with the harder punching person. Not to mention the harder punching boxer is also the one that's landing more in this particular fight. She's not coming off with this out of nowhere, is my point.
Well, I mean, there's a lot more to that than just hard hitting, too, though.
For him, I gave him 4 after I went back and what do you call that? That means that I'm a good boxing fan and that I believed in Lucas, that he could be saying something true. So I went back and watched this fight again just so I could go through the rounds. And this is what I came up with. But I can still see from the CompuBox and the fact that the harder punching boxer is landing more, that she's not coming out of left field with this judging card.
Right,
and
but
Jules makes sense of it.
At the same time that somebody else was on their damn cell phone judging the fight and hasn't gotten not near the amount of attention that this woman is getting.
I love it, Shakur. Jules, make sense of it. We going around on this one. Jules, make sense of it. Go ahead.
Only sense I can make is that Sakura has Julie Letterman and Adelaide Byrd on speed dial. So maybe she's going with both of them. I'm messing with you, Shaq.
Lady, I don't know either.
I'm messing with you. But no, I mean, in terms of make sense of what the scoring or the just.
The 119, 109 card, I think, is what he's saying. Makes sense of that.
Oh, no, 119, 109 I thought was crazy. I mean, once again, I'm on Lucas' side in terms of there's more to just throwing like the CompuBox numbers or, landing the harder punches, right? I mean, we look at ring generalship, we look at stuff like that. I mean, it's the reason why sometimes Floyd won a lot of fights. Floyd wouldn't, he wouldn't have like the most punch output for his opponent, but he was so accurate and so technically gifted in there and controlled the ring generalship that you had to give him so many of those rounds, even though he didn't throw more or even land more. You know what I mean? And I felt like that was the rounds that Vasily Lomachenko had. Granted, he may not have landed more, quote unquote, by copy box, but he was more in commanding of it by pushing the fight, having more ring generalship. You understand what I'm saying? Sometimes pushing Lopez back when Lopez was a little tired, fighting in the break. So 119, 109 was crazy. I said that on Twitter. I was like, damn, like she only gave this man one round? Like, that's crazy.
Rafi says I had 7 round to Lopez, 4 to Lomachenko. 2 could have gone either way. Yeah, I mean, 2 is definitely a swing round. So if you wanted to give it to Lopez, I mean, I guess you can. You could have gave it to Loma. That's either one for me. So I'm not going to defend the second round by any means, but I think the rest of the rounds I scored were pretty clear. And I'm still saying Lopez won. That's the other thing. I'm not defending my prediction on my scorecard. I still have Lopez ahead. I think it was a closer fight. 119-109 is basically saying, like, you got blown out, son. You're lucky that you even won a round. It was not a blowout.
Right. That's exactly where I wanted to start with too, because I mean, it's not about first Julie Lederman it's not the first time she does some type of odd scorecards that doesn't reflect the fight, how the fight played out.
That's another reason. I didn't come to that yet, but yeah, go ahead.
It's not the first time. Now, 2.
She's in love with Lopez. That's what it is.
Probably she is, but 2, the thing is like, if you see the scorecards on papers, it means that was a wipeout. Basically, Lopez just gave Lomachenko boxing clinic school lesson, which it wasn't. Yes, I can understand how she probably had a whole shutout from 1 to 6 rounds. I can understand that. Lopez took all those rounds.
Even 1 through 7. I'll give her 1 through 7.
It was 1 through 7.
But then after that, Loma started coming on, and then there were rounds that were really closer. And there's no way that 119, 109. There's no way that he only won 1 round, which is you know, he did more than that, and that didn't reflect the type of fight that we had, and that kind of put a sour note on a nice body, on a nice event, on a nice fight. You know what I'm saying? And
the credit that she deserved over the weekend. They shit on that too by talking all about, oh my God.
Well, you know, people, all of us people, we cannot have nice things. We just had a free fight, so we had to find some type of flow. That was it. You know?
That's us boxing fans, you know. That's us boxing fans.
Yeah, but
listen.
And now Loma's garbage. Don't forget that. Plus Loma, he's been overrated this whole time now.
Oh my God.
These are valid facts.
That's Rob.
Okay, wait, did Sakura just quote Rob? Hold on, did Sakura just quote Rob? I think she's falling. I think she's going in the Rob Alexander Lomo is overrated campaign.
No, she's mocking him.
No, she's mocking me. She's trying to mock me. She's trying to mock me. But let me tell y'all what. Both of these things are facts, though, and that's why people are talking about that. Now, that being said, Lucas didn't want to mention this and go to it, but I will. The issue with 119, with that scorecard, is that these happen every single fight now.
That's true.
And what I think it is as if they don't want to do their job. Their job is to score the fight, each round in the fucking fight, not just who they think wins. It's almost as if they don't want to do their job and they automatically predict who they wanted to win and just score it all the way across the board for who they wanted to win. Tens all across the board.
Well, I mean, what was the judge that actually said when they awarded Bradley in the first fight, that said they were kind of still holding him accountable for the last Marquez bout? And I'm like, how the hell you gonna do that? You gotta go into every fight with a blank slate. What the hell are you talking about holding them accountable for Marquez, man? That doesn't make any damn sense.
Right.
Because everybody, they had the head boxing commissioner during that fight. He was like, you know, I support their decision, their scores, because we felt like Pacquiao just wasn't the same Pacquiao. Like, you don't give Bradley all these rounds because Pacquiao wasn't as good as Pacquiao was before he was Christian. Like,
right?
I mean, that's what they acted like they were doing, punishing him for not, being a killer in there anymore. Like this, that was one issue. But then you take it further, and it's always a situation where, oh, well, since the scoring wasn't good, then Tio somehow doesn't deserve his credit and his accolades that he deserved for winning this damn fight. Like, that's where I got kind of irritated about when I was seeing it.
That's why you don't need it. So let me finish my statement on that. Period. Because not only was that sickening to see in this fight, but like I said, it keeps happening repeatedly. That same score awarded to Canelo in the Mayweather fight is absolute garbage as well. So what I want happening is I want these judges that do shit like that to be held accountable for quote unquote not doing their job, because you obviously aren't scoring the fight. Those scores should be thrown out, and those judges should never be allowed in the state again.
You actually just echoed a comment we got from Jody Bray. Judges should be made to explain themselves over cards like that. And I agree. There's more than enough time between a round. You score the round. You put down next to it what separated that fighter in that round. Whether it be ring generalship, whether it be power shots, what stuck out to you in that round to score it that way, because this is getting insane and it's ruining our sport. I think everybody's getting sick of it. Like, yes, we can go back and watch the video, but if the video wasn't there and all we had to go by was the record of what the judges scored the fight, we got Julie Letterman and like, this fight's not close, it's a blowout, and that's what we have to go by, and it's actually tainting history a little bit.
I mean,
exactly.
But always we've had 3 judges because of the fact that we didn't trust the one judge. So there are 3 judges there already for a reason. My problem is that when we say hold a judge accountable. Sorry, for some reason I can't talk tonight. When we say that, it's like we're basically saying hold them accountable to what? Because judging has been in the past. Even when they're teaching them how to judge, it's still very subjective and it's very much like what.
Yeah, she has a very good point.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, why can't we just have it where no, if you have this amount of punches, if you do ring generalship the best, if you would rather be this person, if you like, why can't there just be a checklist of things that these judges need to judge? I mean, that they need to actually basically checklist to give a round to someone, because it's too subjective right now. That's why they can't hold somebody accountable, because it's so many ways that they are saying, okay, well, Julie, you think somebody haven't called her and asked her how she came up with that? Like,
according to you,
with her as soon as she got back to the hotel damn room, like, what the fuck? What were you doing? And she's gonna be like, well, I use this, and then Concubot said that, and then we know Tio had more power, and most of the rounds he did have more ring generalship. Like, they did what? They're gonna be like, oh, okay, we'll talk to you later.
Well, according to you, what Julie was doing was, like Lucas said, the amateur way, counting the copy box. Ding,
but
ding, ding, point for Lopez, point for Lopez, point for Lopez.
No, he didn't let me get through with my entire statement, but I had to go back to copy box to see who really did have the more punches in each round, because I wanted to start from that point. But I did add on that they normally do. I mean, we can sit up here and say they shouldn't judge by who's got the harder punches, but we know we see all the time that they do that. The smaller guy, he has like 10 more or even 15 to 20 more punches in a round than the guy that hits harder. He hits 2 punches harder, and they score it like that.
Yeah, because of the power punches.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, we've all seen it. So I'm just simply saying that if we want to hold judges accountable, we got to give them some kind of specific checklist to go down.
Well, look, like I said, I mean, if they did it the way I explained and just notated what they saw, then at least you can look back at said round and be like, I didn't see any power punches, so you lying out your ass. Like, you know, you weren't watching any rounds. You were just marking somebody down. Now, I don't know if that's
Shakura made a good point, though, in terms of, being subjective. I mean, case in point, I forgot somebody made a tweet about Loma versus Lopez being a good fight, not like a great fight, you know what I mean, or things of that nature. And yeah, some people disagreeing with, I forgot who it was. And people were like, oh, you know what you're talking about? I thought it was a great fight. I thought it was calculated. And I'm thinking, well, you know what? That's subjective on what you feel is a great fight, right? Like, if you like the tactical defense chess match, it was a great fight. If you wanted Castillo versus Corrales, Gotti versus Ward, obviously that's a whole different story, right? So to me, it's the same thing. I agree. It's the same thing in judging, and judges are human, right? So judges are going to be, influenced by crowd noise, right? Even though there's no crowd now. But I'm just saying, in the past, they're going to be influenced by crowd noise, right? They're going to be influenced by the guy who may have done the last 30 seconds of the round. Because remember, some of those judges probably have short-term memories. It's 3 minutes. You may win for 2 minutes and 30 seconds, but that guy just threw like a flurry of punches in 30 seconds. You're like, damn, that was impressive. You know what I mean? Forget about the 30 seconds. Well, sometimes you may look at the guy's face, and he may have won, but you're like, man, that guy really busted up, even though he probably won 7 rounds out of the 3. So I'm going to give him more because that guy's busted up. So Shakura's right. It's hard. It's hard to judge it based on that.
I'm not declining that at all. I definitely think that is the case. I mean, it is obviously subjectable. I mean, somebody could land, 50 punches in a round. Another guy lands one and just rocks him. Maybe not knock him down. Does he win him the round? That depends. But I'm saying we could at least stop arguing about Julie Letterman's scorecard if she had just said, and we knew something of what she had saw, maybe that the rest of us did not. At least then we can justify her scorecard, and we don't sit here complaining and bitching about it, and the whole boxing world wouldn't be up in arms. Let's see. We got William Hunter saying, honestly, there are 4 close rounds. I think 2, 5, 8, and 9. So a draw, a 1-round win for Loma, or 2 or 3-round win for Lopez would be acceptable and a better look than a blowout scorecard for Lopez. So he went on to say there is 3 different views by each judge. To be honest, ringside to me is the worst seat to try and judge a fight. There are rules. Some judges don't score work, some do. Or say a fighter lands 10 pity pat shots. Basically, it sounded like he was just saying what I was saying. The other fighter lands 4 solid shots to rounds. It's up to the judge who sees it. Sad part is the most judges have never laced up, coached, or been involved in boxing at all, other than classes to judge and leaning on the job.
So everybody made a great point. We're going to go ahead and move on from this topic and cue up the next graphic there, Lucas. I'm going to have the last say because there was no crowd. There was no crowd to sway that. And you can't have a scorecard that's so lopsided and bad that nobody else in the building had it. And yes, me and Lucas have been there at ringside before and had to score fights. It's not that difficult. We're able to do it and justify our actions.
Well, that's the thing.
That being said, we're going to go ahead and move on, Javi. Guys,
I kind of want to hear. Let's see. What's Javi about to say?
I mean, the only thing I can say is for my experiences, like in the amateurs, right? They don't really, the body punches. They don't score those, right? And you do score a lot for the pity pat punches, right? But in the professional ranks, it's called a hurt business. So it's not about playing the most, but whose punches has the more impact on the other person. 2, it's like we understand we're humans, we have different angles, and we have all these different situations that might affect your judging. But when it's a constantly thing, when it's something that is happening often, that's a problem. One bad night, we can all have one bad night, maybe 2, fine. Mm-hmm. But when you constantly get it, and in Vegas, I don't know what's going on in Vegas. If it's not the refs, it's the judging. If not, there's something else going on in baseball.
See, this is why I wanted to stop this, because here comes the rant.
All right.
Moving on.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I got it up for you, Rob.
Let's go ahead. Guys, the graphic that you were seeing right now is the viewership for the fight. They said record-breaking numbers, the highest rated boxing event since 2019, with over 3 million viewers at peak, and for a first time ever, the highest boxing, the most streamed boxing event ever. So those streams were going crazy left and right.
Event ever on ESPN or ESPN Plus?
Both. I think they're both.
Right, but I meant not ever, just ever on ESPN or ESPN Plus.
You know what?
Well, there's not. This is an official news streaming business. So if you're talking about legal streams, I'm pretty sure it's probably the best in legal streams out there. You can probably say
like
that.
Me, we were stuck at, a live event locally, and people are like constantly like on, like, oh my God, I gotta try to see this too. Like,
look, I think this is what the sport needed. It was something that it was long overdue. One, to promote it the way that it was, and then all props and credit to Lopez for going the extra mile and promoting it himself in the fight. Of course, both people knew what was at stake. Not only the level of competition, not only the top guy against the top guy, but the 4 main belts, a unification, undisputed, a championship. It was a lot of elements that make that fight good. But the simple fact that this guy decided to make it free, decided to put it out there, and in a situation where it's easy for the casual fan to tune into. There's no need to download an app. There's no need to pay for a pay-per-view, have this premium channel. No. Just tune into regular ESPN and enjoy the fight. And look what happened. That gives results. Now, to finish my point, for the pay-per-view crowd, right? You might make some money. You're gonna get some dollars, fine. But that's not gonna be something that's gonna be lasting. This what just happened last Saturday is the beginning of something that could be very productive for both Loma and Lopez, because now they already have they reach some audience that might be able to follow through their career for whatever fights they have after this one.
Absolutely, that's a great point. The fact that these two now, if they want to have a second a rematch and now be a pay-per-view, they can. Because they got a standing count on how many people or how many households have viewed them, how many streams came through for them. So they've been able to probably garner, well, at least Tio more than Loma probably, it's been able to garner some more fans. I'm sure that people will recognize Lomachenko's name now and want to see him again as well. My thing is we should not get confused. Let's just say it like this. I mean, we ain't getting a whole bunch of free fights now, like ESPN was trying to say the other night. Like they were like, "This is brand new. We've started a new movement. I mean, you now have a free fight on blah blah blah." And I'm like, oh, just wait. You know what I'm saying? Like, we'll see how long
possibly
it is before you decide. Well, yeah, we got the one fight coming up with Bud and Brook on regular TV, but right now they're saying that they did this because it's a COVID year and people can't really afford all these extra fees right now to see boxing. But let's see what it is next year. Let's see if they continue to have this type of mentality when there's other money that's on the table that can be made.
Shakira, I have some thoughts on that. Some points that you were making, actually to help the argument, so to speak, for ESPN to be able to do this, because just like you said, now this makes a pay-per-view event for the rematch more marketable. But not only that, it makes it make sense.
I disagree.
It makes sense.
And William Hunter actually just commented Loma has proven pay-per-view flop. Lopez isn't a pay-per-view draw yet. They gave us the first hit free. Bob, Nino, Brown, Arum put the trilogy in motion with the next two going for 69 or better. Now, I don't know if you can still do a pay-per-view with it. I honestly don't. Like,
now here comes Lucas. Now, I ain't going to let you do that. Reason why I ain't going to let you do that is because I was going to come to you next and have you so elegant as you so elegantly did Saturday night, Sunday morning, whichever you want to say, explain why you love the telecast because of those graphics and everything. Those
I did. I think
the
the telecast was, and the production overall was very good. My kids saw the little Fortnite looking characters, the cartoon / video game graphics. They loved it. I actually brought them into the fight a little bit more. So, I think they did reach out as best they can. But honestly, I don't know if this goes past ESPN. Yes, it got 3 million views, and that's amazing. I'm glad it did so well. But pay-per-view, I don't even think it comes close to scratching 1 million. I mean, you're going to maybe 500,000 buys, maybe.
And for this year, well, if it happened this year, that would be like amazing numbers if it hit. But even next year, because the sport, let's face it, the sport took a hit due to COVID. But I really do like the format that they did. And just like you said, Lucas, because to anybody out there who has kids like Lucas, what these graphics do is it's able to draw your kids in. And then what's on the graphic, Lucas? The stats, right? So now you're even able to go ahead and explain these different numbers that are out there, these different stats that they're putting on display and all of that. It gives you a moment with your sons to be able to explain all of that and draw them into the actual sport. And that's
now the
really
question is that would Lucas's kids actually give a damn about the stats? Like, would they want to sit down and be like, all right, Dad, do you really want to tell me, what the percentage and the ratio is and things of that nature? I think the reality is, as you said, Rob, you got to keep them engaged. You got to keep the young generation. They want to be engaged. And as you said, with the graphics, the telecast, that's going to get them engaged. I don't think you can tell, you want to give statistics, to young kids about, proportion of punches and things of that nature and how they're calculating it, because that's going to get boring. I mean, it's boring for me. So it's definitely going to be boring to a young kid. But I think, as you said, if you are doing the telecast, it's the reason why the UFC has that young demographic. If you look at their marketing, if you look at their events, the event is always fun. It's always, the telecast is so animated and fun and things of that nature. And that's what boxing needs. Boxing needs it to be fun. You know what I mean? Like, all right, granted, we could talk about the pay-per-view numbers and we could talk about ring generalship, but why do we watch a fight? We watch a fight to be entertained. We want to have fun, especially now during the pandemic. Okay, we want to get away. We want to get our minds away from all the BS that's going on. We don't know what's going to happen in a year or two, right? So I think the reality is bringing the entertainment and the fun aspect back into boxing. I don't see why not. I don't see why not they couldn't do another event and put it on pay-per-view.
And listen, I mean, another thing that boxing's been missing is the video game aspect. I mean, UFC's had like 5 games before boxing's had its last one that came out on the PS3. I mean, look, kids watch or they play the game first and they'll be like, oh, that's that dude in real life, Yeah. That's just how it is. But
I mean, look, the UFC has a bad MF belt, okay? But where is that division in boxing? Because I would love to see a bad MF fight in boxing. That would be like, I could see some great fights there. That would be like Triple G against some other huge knockout artist over there.
Well, our tweet of the week also is going to play into it. So, Sakura, if you are ready, I believe that's going to play into our current talks as well.
All right, let me get it together here. Well, I think it was Max Kellerman. Going in. Let's see. So first, Max Kellerman said this. Getting into Lomachenko Lopez scoring on Max on Boxing Friday at 5 p.m. He got to do his plug. Acceptable range, 6-6 to 8-4 TO. 6-6 possible because of a flaw in the way boxing is scored. T.O. won the fight if you weren't scoring, and probably if you were too. One thing is for sure, Loma didn't win. And then, well, that's when Michael Woods came in and he tweeted, yes, I am tagging him in this tweet. Max Kellerman, I think you lost your eye when you became a generalist. No way, shape, or form is it 6-6 acceptable. And 9-3, T.O. Lopez is more than acceptable. You are off base here again.
This is ridiculous for me. Right? I mean, you're arguing about a round.
Yeah, he said 6-6, and then he said it's not acceptable. You know what I'm saying? The thing of it is that you got all these ESPNers, okay, and usually Max on his show he has a lot of leeway. They allow him to bring in people from PBC and cross island, the zone fighters like Devin Haney, all this stuff they allow him to do. But then when it comes down to those predictions, somehow every time it has to be, they have this leniency to go with, ESPN fighters. Well, what do you do when both boxers are from the same top rank? You know what I'm saying? So, Max, he said Loma, so now it's like it could be 6-6. And this is where I come to my point. Some of you guys on this show, you said Loma was going to win, and I told y'all he was not. And you have failed to mention all night that Malachi and Sakura A were the ones that got it right, and Jules, by being forced into it, he didn't want to pick sides. And you guys have failed to mention and gave us our just dues. I need to hear you guys were right and I was motherfucking wrong.
Well, I didn't know I was gonna have to kiss your ass, but I
yeah, I know, right?
I scored the fight.
She said motherfucking wrong. She didn't
even. I scored the fight for Lopez. Is that not enough, Sakura? You were right. Malachi ain't here,
right.
so.
All right,
only another third of people need to say something.
All right, Shakur. I think Lomachenko needs to apologize to all of us because it is absolutely his damn fault. Because he was who I thought he was, and I let his ass off the hook.
Hold on real quick, guys. I got to get my own rapid fire question in. Don't say nothing but a yes or no. Okay? Do you think a rematch would go differently?
Oh, yeah, you
No.
didn't mention that.
It would?
No.
Yeah.
No for Rob. Jules.
I don't know.
Okay. Oh, me? I'm going with no. I don't think so.
Sakura?
I don't know. I mean, maybe Lomachenko learned.
Nah, it's a yes or no question.
I don't know. I guess that's a reason to have one, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
Well,
Javi?
I don't know.
That's a yes
Yeah.
then. If you're saying I don't know, that's a yes. That's possible.
Yeah, all the way. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got 2 yeses, 2 no's, and a I don't know. So I'm going to take that I don't know as a semi-yes because you're not sure. You're not saying it's going to be the same. So I don't know. I'm hoping they have another one. Let's see.
I definitely don't think it'll be the same, but I don't think it necessarily translates to a win for Lomachenko.
No, not at all. But let's see. Will Hunter, Sakura Armstrong, you were right. You know where I had my money after the Lomachenko first loss. I felt like betting against him was like betting against Mayweather.
And I told Will too. I said you didn't put nothing on T.O. Even if you think he's a loser, why you didn't take some of that money and put it on T.O. So he had no answers. Yeah.
Rob?
Oh, what happened?
I don't know. Everybody just got quiet. Huh?
Because
You still didn't answer my question.
that apology threw me off. Really, to be honest with you,
Really?
I think Lomachenko should be the one.
Lucas, you gotta vouch for me right now. Javi, you too. Cause when Rob gets it right, we gotta hear about it, baby.
Oh my God.
We gotta the entire broadcast, we got to hear about how he was right and we were wrong. So now I'm going to need for him in particular to eat his crow tonight. And I'm supposed to knock at him anyway because he's always been against Lomo.
So which is what I told you in the first place. Like I said, he was who I thought he was.
And guess what? Yeah, he'll be back against him come next fight. He'll be, oh no, he's going to lose. So we'll see.
You know what? I'm going to tell y'all just like this. Like I said Saturday night. If he goes back down to 130, he's fine. But he's not a pound for pound, and he's not a world beater.
Oh my God!
Let's save that discussion for later. Save it for later.
You want to say that, and you know how he thinks he's the guy.
We have a rapid fire. Let's say that. Save that.
All right, Rob. All right, Rob.
Let's go to our eye candy of the week. Guys, this eye candy I'm very much most impressed with this person right here because of the stats and because of the overall greatness, and it's as quiet as it was kept for us. This beautiful woman that you see on your screens right now is Natasha Ragusina. Natasha is a retired boxer who retired undefeated. Her record actually was 22-0. Natasha spent most of her career ranked as the top female super middleweight in the world. She actually is the longest reigning WBA female super middleweight champ and WBC female super middleweight champ. At the time of her retirement, she held all major female super middleweight titles and 2 heavyweight titles. She actually in 2008 won a record 7 championship belts in a single fight. Then in 2009 she defeated the heavyweight world champ Pamela London by knockout to add 2 more heavyweight championships. If that ain't impressive, male or female, you've lost your mind.
Yeah, and I like her shoes. I mean, it would match my outfit right now. So why don't we go ahead and get to how fine you think she is?
This woman, to me, is a great beauty. I love, as I said in our chat, I love her face, her legs, and her body shape. A 10 out of 10 for me.
Rob getting his OJ Simpson on. He's like, yeah, she definitely has all the tools I love.
I cannot get over this category, man. It's always so cringeworthy to me. I don't know why.
Are you okay with eye candy of the week now that it's been a female turn?
No.
My newfound celibacy will not allow me to answer this part of the question. So I'm not going to say anything.
I'm going to jump into rapid fire discussion. This is not a rapid fire question segment. And yes, you are allowed to go on a rant, argument, whatever you want to do tonight, whatever the case may be. We actually had a heated discussion on my favorite topic, weight. So in lieu or in light of the situation with Lomachenko and Lopez, obviously a lot of y'all and a lot of people feel that Lomo should go down to 130 and stay, whereas you feel that Lopez should be moving up. The issue I have with that is the pound for pound topic. So this is where the discussion got heated Saturday night. And I'm going to let Lucas defend himself once again on here, but I'm interested in hearing everybody's opinion.
Defend myself in saying that Teofimo should now be the number 1 pound for pound fighter in the world. No, I'm not going to take that back. I completely agree that Teofimo, and I'm going to stand by that. Teofimo just beat the man. And like I said Saturday night, in order to be the man, you have to beat the man. What does anybody else have on their record like a Lomachenko win.
So Shakira, but did he beat the man? What are your thoughts, love?
Oh my God. You know how I feel about this whole undisputed situation and the fact that neither Lomo or Lopez has fought who is now considered like prize fighters in that division now. So you got Devin Haney, you got Gervonta Tank Davis still sitting out there. We don't know how good Ryan Garcia is now, but he's getting ready to fight Campbell, so we will find out soon enough if he at least has that skill level. And yet, we're saying that Lomachenko was the lightweight champion, and now, well, unified champion, and now Teofimo is. So you know how I feel about that type of situation. I'm all about, back in the day and that being like a real undisputed situation. When it comes to the pound for pound, I would definitely put Teofimo on that list, but I ain't taking his ass right to the top yet. No, there too many names still out there, baby, in the lightweight division for that. And then on top of that, I didn't even have Lomachenko as number one either. So I don't know where to put him at, but I'm not putting him on. I'll put him on the list for sure, but I would not put him on as number one.
So real quick then, because it sounds like Lucas's criteria was because he beat the man, that's why he should be there. So what is your criteria to fit him into that category? What would be your criteria to fit him in?
He did beat someone that was seen in the boxing world as the man, the guy to some of us, right, Javi? So I have to give him that. Lomachenko is a highly high-tech, skilled boxer. That doesn't change because Teofimo beat him in this particular bout. His worst enemy in this fight was not Teo, it was Lomachenko against himself, I feel. But what I wanted to say is that it's not really dependent on him beating the man to beat the man. It's more to me like, if we think of Lomachenko as ruling the division, he did rule that division because he held the most belts for the longest. But I don't see him as the man because of that. So I can't base that on it. For me, I guess my criteria is if everybody was the same size, I believe this. If everybody was the same size in all these different weight classes, who's skill, who's power, who's, ring generalship, who's all these different attributes would make them be number one, number two, number three, like that. So okay. That's my criteria.
Okay. So Jules, I'm gonna go ahead and throw this one at you, Jules. We're talking about pound for pound discussion. We're talking about Lomo. We're talking about Teo. What are your thoughts, buddy?
Yeah, you have to have Teo at least on the list. If you beat a guy, Vasil Lomachenko, who for the past couple of years, even myself, has talked about him being one of the top pound for pound guys, and him, Lopez doing it. You know what I mean? Lopez pretty much pulled off an upset. You know what I mean? So you have to really put him in that range. I wouldn't put him on number one. I always felt like pound for pound, you have to consider other fighters and with their weights and what they're doing and how long they've been doing it for. My number one guy after the Kovalev fight has been Canelo. That's been my number one pound for pound guy. I think he's the one. I don't think there's anyone else who can actually make an argument. Possibly, maybe Bud Crawford or Errol Spence, depending on what you're looking at. But Canelo has been dominating for such a long time, and I know people are going to say, oh, there's an asterisk behind it, or, with the whole Mexican meat, controversy. I know there are going to be some things they're going to talk about, but in terms of what he's been doing since the Mayweather loss, I have to have Canelo as my pound for pound. But that being said, to answer your question, Rob, you have to have Teo on the list, but I wouldn't put him as number one. But if you wanted to put him, as a top 10, yeah, absolutely. He's definitely top 10 pound for pound.
feel like I got to defend myself a little bit.
I knew this was coming. I knew this was coming. Hold on, before you do, Lucas, Jules, real quick. So, what is your criteria?
For pound? Yeah, I mean, same thing with Sakura. I mean, I go for pound because they created for Sugar Ray Robinson, right? I mean, if you would have put a fighter minus the heavyweight division in any division, right? And you look at their scale and their record, who would be pound for pound. So I think I look at, the overall skill, what they've been doing over the years. Once again, like Canelo has been moving up and down in weight, hasn't lost in 7 years, right? I mean, according to, his record, he has not lost, since the Mayweather fight. So I think, once again, the achievements, how long they've been on top for, if you were to put them in different divisions, how would they do? And yeah, that's really about it in skill level.
All right, thank you, Jules. Lucas, go ahead. What you want to defend yourself real quick?
I mean, with the criteria, I mean, I agree with them for the most part, but a lot of pound for pound lists are also based on what somebody believes another fighter is capable of. I don't base on that. I base on what you have proven thus far, including the big names that you've fought. Now, we all had Lomachenko, either, one or two, depending on who you are. You may have Bud first. You may have had Lomachenko first before Saturday night. Am I correct? I think all five of us would say that.
No, like they had already moved Canelo into that number one spot.
A lot of people don't have Canelo. Some do. I don't know. That's just me. I think a lot of those were bought and paid for.
No, you jumped on
fights.
Malachi on Saturday for that.
Yeah, I'm gonna let it go tonight. I don't feel like going into that Canelo debate.
But you said the same thing tonight.
Yeah, I can't get Canelo in there. Let's see. Clarence says, want to see the Lopez Loma rematch. William Hunter says, pound for pound, Pacquiao is still demand. 118 to 147, pound for pound. Yeah. Well.
All right, Javi.
Look,
we got you. Go ahead.
I still got to defend myself because.
Well, go ahead.
Loma, okay, and Terrence Crawford was basically at the top. I went with Loma just because he had the bigger names. He did go the three-weight divisions, yes. He did not unify a division completely like Terrence Crawford did, but I still think he had the names to stand out. Linares is already better than pretty much anything Bud can offer, in my mind, in my own opinion. Also subjective, I'm sure. But and then comes along Lopez and just, defeats him. So little in boxing do we ever have where, one man fights another man for the championships. Usually it's for a vacant title. You rarely see two champions fight each other, and when they do, that is pound for pound contention. This led me to Teofimo being number one, maybe number two, but if he's not in your top three, I don't know. I think you're doing something wrong.
So
Javi, you're muted, buddy. I hear you. I see you, but I can't hear you.
My bad. What I'm saying is, like, you guys were talking about being subjective when it comes to the judging the fights. I think also the pound for pound thing is subjective, right? According to your own standards, according to how you see it. But I believe that both of these guys is in the top 10. Why? Because they fought top opposition, right? Especially Lomachenko. Lopez took a little longer to step up, but when he finally stepped up, he delivered. Both twice. What he did to Comey, what he did to Lomachenko last Saturday. Lomachenko has been fighting nothing but champions and veterans of the game, making them quit. What he did to Rigo was special. That's pound for pound thing. What he did to Russell Jr. when nobody wanted part of Russell Jr. He did what he had to do to him. Now, just because of one loss, this is why that gets me sick from the boxing fans because, he's overhyped. He was so this, he was that. Because of one loss, that's what happens when the top man fights the top man. If you don't want to see no loss, then of course, throw some tomato can in there. And he's never going to see a loss. Or throw a name, right? A veteran of the game with a high-profile name, but he's already on the decline. Basically, you're just building that record, right? Kind of like what Haney's doing with Gamboa. Like I said last week, everybody's calling Gamboa now. When Gamboa was calling everybody out, nobody wanted part of Gamboa. Oh, the Cuban style, high risk, low reward. Oh, now it's like, Gamboa. Because they see the decline. They see the weakness and they prey on it. You know what I'm saying? And it's part of the game.
So where is he at on your pound for pound?
Who? Lomachenko?
No, Tio.
Where is he? Top 5 right now.
Is he number 1 on your list now? Because
he said top 5 though. He didn't say top 3.
Look, he said top 5.
Lomachenko is still in my top 10, even after the loss.
Loma the God.
Loma's still in the top 10.
Why isn't Lomo still your number 1?
Why?
Because he took a loss. That's why.
Yeah, because he got beat. Yeah, he just got beat.
But what did Javi just say?
I go by what happened.
Don't take the man down from his loss. But you took the man down from his loss.
No, I'm not gonna take him away from the loss because that's what happens. He wanted the biggest challenge. He came up short. But
so why is he number 1?
He's not a top fighter anymore.
Well, wait a minute, though.
Well, because he lost. Like,
right,
I mean,
nobody sees it as a contention.
I see what you're saying, Rob. I see what you're saying. Because even with a loss, what he's saying, even with a loss to Tio, does he still not have a better record and a better standing than what we said was number 2 if it's Clarence, if it's Bud Crawford?
Oh, no, I understand.
Go ahead, Joe.
But no, the whole thing is I mean, Javi still has him as top 5, right? When we're talking about number 1 pound for pound, we're equating that to being the champion, right? Like this, he is the guy. So when you lose, right, you get knocked off. It's as simple as saying, all right, well, the Lakers are the champions because they won, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? They won, so they're the champions.
On a regular ranking, I would agree with you, but on a pound for pound, where it's subjective and it's based off who actually you feel would still win if they fought most of these guys, that don't necessarily bring them off that pound for pound list is what
it takes them, but it takes them off number 1 because the hypothetical matchup of if Lopez could beat Lomachenko already happened. Lomachenko lost. So the hypothetical matchup became a reality. He lost the reality. He comes off number 1. If you want to put him in your top 5, top 10, that's up to you based on the other criteria. But the criteria of, a hypothetical matchup become a reality and him losing, you can't keep him number 1 there. That's my opinion.
Just to piggyback off what Jules is saying and the way.
But Lopez still don't have the record that Lomachenko had.
Right, but
again, that's like saying Lopez. You could put Lopez in your top 3, or if you want to put him in number 1, I wouldn't. But if you wanted to, you could say, hey, well, he beat the man that was pound for pound. I'll put him in the top 3. I'll put him in the top 5, right? But in my opinion, you can't put Lomachenko as number 1 because he lost. You know what I'm saying? But you can still have him at the top 5 or top 10 based on the other criteria we talked about being pound for pound, having a good record, going up and down in weight and winning championships. You can still do that, but to have him number 1, I can't see him doing that. You know what I mean?
I'm to piggyback off Jules. That's basically saying, like, let's say Mayweather comes back and fights Conor McGregor again. Oh, since he's active, he's number 1 pound for pound. No,
that's what I would have.
It's not how it is.
Of course you would, Rob.
No.
All right.
Boxing's about what you did lately. Hang on. Boxing's about what you did lately, okay? He just lost. He's still in my top 10 pound for pound, but T.O. takes up, 1, 2, or 3. Now, Canelo, I just can't get behind. I'm not going to put him on the list. Of course, you got the Rocky Fielding. You got the Kovalev, which basically even Kovalev said he didn't expect to win. Who goes into a fight not expecting to win? Come on, man. And no, I can't.
All right, let me get mine.
I can't. All these vacant titles, and he's about to fight for another vacant title just because he owns the WBC. Get the hell out of here with that shit.
Situation, please. I got one question to just ask you, Lucas, though. If it's between, for you, not Jules, because he's putting Canelo as number 1, but for you, it was always Lomachenko number 1 and Terrence Crawford number 2.
Yep.
If Terrence Crawford still hasn't fought anyone that you liken to compare to the competition that Lomachenko has, what? I mean, where are you going to go with him on the pound for pound? I mean, are you just switching them from 1 to 2? But Terrence still doesn't have as good a record as Lomo? And what about the credit for fighting someone of T.O.'s risk factor?
I agree, and that's why he's still in. Now, the loss affects it for me. Terrence Crawford really hasn't moved up or down in competition to me, so he just stays right there. He stays at number 2. T.O. takes the spot because he beat him. That's the way I work my pound for pound. I guess everybody's a little different, but...
Well, mine is completely different, so I'm going to go into mine now, damn it. Mine is completely different than what you guys are. And this is where I'm getting to this, because this is what I judge my pound for pound off of. If you take a fighter or a guy who's in the lower weights that can move up in weight and still win, and go up in weight and still win, and go up in those upper echelon where those elite fighters are and win, to me, you were pound for pound because you were proving a fact and a point that you can compete with anybody on any level on that list. Now, that being said, what Tio is doing, saying what his father said, is that my son can beat you anywhere from 130 to 154. And Tio is proving that right now. He is proving that. Lomachenko, whereas Lomachenko, we're saying, can't go above 130. So that's where I bet. That's exactly where I'm going with it, Shakira. Exactly where I'm going.
I know it. Look, I said.
Right, but
this is my point. This is my point. Devin Haney, Tank Davis, Teofimo Lopez, Bud Crawford has already proved it. These are all fighters. Enro Spence, who, by the way, is wanting to challenge Canelo next.
How Devin Haney proved it?
Their body shape and the way that they are going with their bodies and everything, they can move up. They can definitely move up and compete at those weight classes. These are all fighters that prove to me that they can move up and fight and compete at any level. I'm not finished. Let me make my point. These are your pound for pound candidate type fighters right now. These are your top pound for pound fighters, not the Lomachenkos of the world. He should have never been on that damn list.
Wait, hold on, Rob. Hold on. I have a question though. So your pound for pound list is based on the hypothetical as opposed to actually proving that you can go.
That's what everybody said.
No, not really. Because Lomachenko, we're putting him on the pound. We're putting him on the pound for pound list because we've seen him beat very good fighters like a Gary Russell Jr. versus a Lonades. We've seen him go up in weight. And my argument was taking him off the number one because he didn't beat, he didn't beat Lopez. That's my argument that I had against Lucas, right? But like for Devin Haney is very talented, but we haven't seen him against competition where we're like, okay, we can put him on the pound for pound list because we know he's going to have a tough challenge. Like if he were to beat Teofimo Lopez, absolutely. Put him on pound for pound. Devin Haney beats Tank, put him on pound for pound. Absolutely. But I think that's like putting Ryan Garcia on the pound for pound list. We see what they're capable of. We just haven't seen what they're capable of yet.
So that's one part of the argument, but the other part I'll answer for you right now. 130 and below don't count.
Oh, here we go.
Look,
here we go.
130 and below don't count.
You got it, Rob. You got it.
You are discrediting everybody just for being short like yourself, okay? You're small. And you're giving credit to people that are willing to dehydrate themselves to practically death, to weight bully, until they finally get up to their damn weight that they should be fighting at to begin with. You're not making any sense, Rob. Some people can actually go up in weight and compete at places they should not even be at, okay? And the way you should be thinking about it is more Henry Armstrong from back in the day. That's a true pound-for-pound king. This crap nowadays where you're going up 5 pounds and draining yourself about 30 to death and then, rehydrating another 30 like Canelo, that is not how it's supposed to be done. That is the only reasons why they get this done. And what does it matter to you if they go from 147 to 168 or if they go from, 112 to what the fuck ever, 130? What does it matter? It's weight divisions. It's the same.
Javi, we getting into this tonight, damn it. Because I'm not finished.
This has to end. Look, tonight is done with the 130 situation and below.
It matters to the public because nobody knows those people at 126, at 112. Nobody's watching.
Rob?
It's only you. It's only you, Rob. It's only you.
And that's not the boxer's fault. They're still elite.
But that's not even.
If it's just me, then when have you seen a lower weight on the top pound for pound list?
Chocolatito
didn't do it. He didn't do it. He failed. When he moved up in weight, he failed.
To you, he failed. That was you.
No, that's proven. He lost twice.
Right. But the thing about it is, what I'm trying to make sense of what Robert said was like, okay, supposedly 130 doesn't matter for him. Okay, that's your opinion. We respect it. You're entitled to it. Even though this something is gonna be a good fight, and they're not gonna be 130. Maybe since it don't matter to you, probably we're not gonna be able to talk to you because you're not gonna watch a fight that doesn't matter to you. I don't know. Maybe you're gonna watch it even though it doesn't matter to you. But what doesn't make sense to me was on your pound for pound rankings that you said that is what the fighters can do with their bodies. That's David Haney, Ryan Garcia. Honestly, I don't know what they're doing with their bodies, but I go with what's being proven in the ring. Not on social media, not at the gym, in the ring. So Lomachenko's proving himself. Lopez has been proving himself for a short time, and he still is. And he's basically delivering more than was expected. Now, we haven't seen David Haney yet. We're just about to see a step up in competition with Gamboa, which I already said is declining. So it's taking advantage of the situation. Now the Gamboa went from high risk, low reward to high reward on my record and now low risk. You know what I'm saying? So that to me, I cannot give it full credit because that means you timing the opponent where you have the advantage. Kind of like what Canelo used to do.
Tate move up from 135. I mean, he's very short. How does that happen? And that's your boy.
He's already heavier than 135. Look, part of being
no, we're not talking about that. We're talking about how does he move up when he's as short as he is in stature to be competitive with 140.
You'll see. He's definitely gonna be competitive at 140. You'll be. Look. A part of being a journalist and a great one at that is to predict the future. Okay. Now they might not be pound for pound, but I'm writing it down, and this is gonna end the damn argument because I'm writing this shit down right now. I'm telling you the future in boxing right now. Devin Haney, Gervonta Davis, Ryan Garcia. Okay.
You just saying lightweight because you know Virgil
Teofimo Lopez. Yes, Teofimo is the future. Teofimo, I see, is the future.
You know, you're saying a lot of people that haven't even got a title in their own division, let alone multiple divisions, and you're downplaying Lomachenko, who is a three-time weight division champion.
The future. I'm predicting.
You don't make any sense, and you give credit to people like Canelo, who goes up and beats a Rocky Fielding and then just vacates the belt because he cannot defend against actual champions in that division.
No, because those actual champions ain't proving shit either. That's not his fault.
This is it, okay? So when it fits you, then you're okay with it. So, for example, we talked about Terrence Crawford, right? You're a very big supporter of Terrence Crawford. I have no problem with that. Like I said, he's 1 or 2 in your pound-for-pound list, as he should be. But do you honestly think he's going to be competing at 154 and above? Can he go up from 147, or is that too much for you, Rob?
We're talking about who?
Crawford.
Oh, my God.
Terrence is going to go up to 154 and wipe out the division. Terrence is a division. Nobody wants Terrence. Terrence is the most talented fighter in the world by far, period.
He is not going to 154.
Terrence is better at this juncture in his career, in my opinion. Terrence is a lot like, if not better than Floyd Mayweather. Terrence Crawford, there's nobody
better
that
than
wants
Floyd
to see
Mayweather?
Terrence Crawford.
You said better than Floyd Mayweather.
You said he's up there.
You said better. You said better.
If not better, yes.
Okay. I'll say it now. And I love Terrence Crawford. I think he's great. but I don't really see him competing in 154. I think if he gets a belt, it's a vacant title, vacate, go back down. 147 is where it's at for Terrence Crawford. I don't think he competes any higher. Now, would you say if he doesn't, does that take away from him pound for pound, Rob?
Right.
Absolutely, because if that's where the bigger fights are and you wipe out the division at 147, you got to go up. You got to go up.
He hasn't scratched the surface at 147.
Not right now. But we're talking about the future. We're talking about the future of the sport.
Gone up in weight several times.
But no, but according to Rob, you know, you're not good unless you just keep on going, I guess, until you just explode.
It's the Mortal Kombat ring. You got to keep knocking the guy off.
Rob runs Crawford versus Wilder 2021. So he can see who's pound for pound.
And you know what? The whole thing moving on in weight classes is very suspect because one, yes, you see some God-given athletes that have this God-given talent, but to be honest, that's one every 500. Now, not everybody is able to do that, right? And be top guy in every division they jump in. Now, whenever they start doing that, that's when I be raising the eyebrow like The Rock. I be raising the eyebrow. I'm a suspect right there, buddy. You know what I'm saying? You went from this way small frame to not hanging with the big boys.
You done took. I'm sorry. You done took it way out of proportion, Javi. Sorry, Javi. You done took it way out of proportion. Look, the bottom line is, what do we want these guys to do? We want them to wipe out the division, and when the division is wiped out and there's nobody else to fight, what do you want them to do? Move up and take on the next elite fighters at the next weight class. Okay. That, to me, that's my criteria for pound per pound. I'm entitled to it.
So according to your logic, Robert, after Fury wins, right? The wins from Wilder again.
I mean, again, this is all blowing it out of proportion. You can't go no higher than heavyweight. So why are you trying to blow it out of proportion now?
Right, but according to your logic, then after Fury becomes undisputed and there's nowhere else to go, should he go back down and fight on the cruiserweight to meet your criteria of
no, he should retire because he's completed his mission in life.
Just because he beats that, look, there's still fights out there. There's still Usyk. There's still other fighters to fight. Look, 147. And I don't think it's going to happen. Nobody's going to run the gauntlet at 147. 147 is too stacked. I don't think we're going to see that.
Nobody will run the damn gauntlet. Y'all keep saying that because the man can't defend himself. That's all everybody keeps wanting to say. He's nothing because he can't fight these fighters. He can't fight these fighters because of promotional issues. That's not his damn fault.
I said he's not going to do it. I did not say he's shit because he can't do it. I'm not saying he's not a great fighter. I've been saying he's a great fighter, Rob. You need to listen a little closely. You need to listen a little closer.
I don't see how you can't see he doesn't.
I'm saying he's not going to run the gauntlet.
He's got the more skill than Emerald Spence. He's got more skill than Sean Porter. He's got way more skill than any of them other fighters out there.
Can we end it by saying this? We can end it by saying that Tio was able to beat the odds and get that win against Lomachenko because he was given the opportunity to do so. And there's a lot of players in all of these weight classes that, given the opportunity, are basically they're capable of giving an upset as well. I mean, but we can't say that somebody isn't a certain level of fighter because they're not given these opportunities to prove it necessarily.
Right.
But we also can't put them
agree.
at the top of the list either without some type of measuring stick in place.
Right. But the thing is, it was given to him, yes, but this has been something that him and his father been vocal about it. So I wouldn't say much. It was given, yeah, but after a whole period of knocking on the door and saying we won that. Listen,
how many boxers do you know that have
that's not all the way true.
In the face and they ain't getting that damn
That's not
fight.
all the way true. Right. That's not all the way true though, y'all. You're taking something away from him. That's not all the way true. You got to go back. You got to go back to what Lomachenko said on the special. Lomo said they strategically put it to where this kid, Teofimo Lopez, would have to win a title first.
Right.
and they strategically put him in that role. Why? Because Lomo could have went straight to Comey and got the belt. He could have went straight to Comey, but he didn't want to. He put it in the hands of Tio to win that fight, to get the belt, to earn the right to fighting for the undisputed title.
And he still had to give up some money for it to happen after that, by the way.
That's what I'm saying.
So I'm also giving Lomachenko credit for that as well. I would not put Lomachenko down on the pound-for-pound list too far.
No.
Based on some of these things that we're talking about that he's done. But listen, my point is that we can't say that these boxers haven't been calling out certain bigger boxers. I mean, not when you have situations where you got people holding, titles, interim titles for 2 years, waiting for a big opportunity, or allowing their career to be like almost demolished by sitting around waiting for a phone call from a specific boxer. Like, you got people that call people out all the time, all day, all night, Twitter it, Facebook it, do all this shit, and they still are not gonna get that fight.
Right.
So what I'm saying is the opportunity has to be there, but you can't knock fighters when they call people out and nobody comes to the door.
I agree, and I'm not knocking Terrence Crawford. I'm simply saying I cannot move him up pound for pound because of that. He is going to stay stagnant.
That's knocking him.
How is that knocking him? You have to prove something. You can't just get moved up just because you can't get a fight. I mean, I'm not going to crown you number one. You have to prove that you're number one. Hold on. Lomachenko versus Lopez was pretty 50-50 as far as the media and even us was concerned, right? It was 50-50 fight. We didn't know who was going to win. So how you going to say, well, just because we think you're better and you think you would win, then we're just going to give you the pass and give you number one pound-for-pound spot? No, you have to go by what has been proven. And thus far, Crawford has just not proven it. Am I not saying that I would not favor him in a fight versus Errol Spence? I'm not saying that at all, because I probably would. Against Porter, probably would. But he has not proven it. Just like Teofimo threw a wrench in all the other pound-for-pound with Lomachenko, a wrench can be thrown into the mix for Crawford. That's all I'm saying.
My point is,
you're right.
I tried to put Lomachenko and Terrence Crawford on that pound-for-pound list against each other. If they was the same size, I still always favored Terrence Crawford to win that bout because he had something that Lomachenko didn't have in his arsenal. So I'm just saying, like, you may not like the fact that the skill levels are there, but at the same time, we cannot just dismiss fighters because they don't have the actual fight on their record.
All right.
No, but I can't fathom and make up if they would win or not. I can't just sit here and be like, well, I guess Terrence Crawford would just go up and beat Charlo too. Like, no, I can't do that. I can't say that. See, for me, it has to be proven first.
Yeah. That's a regular ranking to me. That's a
he ain't proved.
I don't feel like that's a real pound for pound then, Lucas.
He wiped out 140, okay? But really, what's his biggest win?
He was undisputed. He was undisputed at 140. Moved up to 147. He's been wiping out this division as far as what's available to him. Okay.
I mean, Crawford was available to him.
Oh yeah, but we're talking about his biggest win or the biggest name on his resume. That's. I mean, the biggest name on his resume is Amir Khan, but his biggest win is probably, I mean, a guy who has accolades. I would probably go with like Felix Diaz, maybe. Felix Diaz is a very good win. I go with him.
My question is right for Robert. Robert, so since your pound for pound is somebody that keeps moving up. What happens if your prediction of David Haney and Tank, right, they happen to become champions in the weight division, but they don't climb up? So that's it, you are automatically drawing them out of your pound for pound because they couldn't climb up?
So I always said, my one out for you not to move up is to become undisputed, period. And defend it. So if they can't climb up and move up, and I understand that, then you need to be undisputed and you need to continue to defend that title.
Okay, so they get a pass, but other fighters don't. So David Haney.
No, that's from any fighter. That's for any fighter. If Lomachenko didn't do it, and that's my point. If Loma became undisputed in the weight class at 135 and defended the belt there, he would be pound for pound in my book. But I said he wasn't pound for pound from the get-go, and I said he couldn't do it, and he couldn't. And that's why he's never been pound for pound to me. Now, that being said, since it is my segment and it is rapid fire, and we do have to wrap up, I'm going to have the last word. Because everything that I always said and stated tonight, I have Lomachenko out of the top 10 for pound. My new nickname for him, Javi, is no mo. No mo Lomo. He's no more. Lucas, can we sign off on that?
CJ Hooker says, I was disappointed in the Loma versus Lopez fight. I was expecting a fight of the year. He also wanted us to go over Davis versus Santa Cruz on Who We Got. I told him that's next week's show.
Absolutely, buddy.
I don't want to end with the whole,
That's rapid fire for you,
Man,
baby. That was the rules. The rules.
Rob, you just don't make sense, buddy. You say you got to go up and wait to do it. Loma's done it, and it was the quickest in becoming a 3 World Division champion, and then you still disregard him. It doesn't make any sense.
He lost.
Yeah.
Sure okay. Look. I'm gonna tell you all this though. I agree. I was wrong if I was wrong, but he proved me right.
You picked him to win.
That doesn't mean shit. That doesn't mean
what?
Wait, hold on. Did Rob say he proved? Wait, hold on, Rob. Did you say that he proved you right?
Yeah, go ahead, Jules. I'm gonna defend myself. Go ahead.
No, I got you. So you're saying that he proved you right because you picked him to win, and he lost, and you've been saying for how many years now that he's been hyped? Is that what you're saying?
No, he proved me right because I said he was a hype job. He proved me right there, and I was wrong because I bought into it like the rest of you suckers. So that's how I got it.
See, I don't know if you'd be saying this if it was vice versa. Okay, so let's say Crawford takes on Porter. They do it. Porter etches him out in a really close fight. I don't think you'd be discrediting Crawford after that.
I'd absolutely discredit Crawford after that.
I don't know.
Because he definitely would have proved me wrong. Any of these names that I just mentioned, if I'm wrong on any of these names, let me have it on the show in the up and coming future. This will be something we can build on, Lucas. Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, Tank Davis, Enro Spence, Terrence Crawford, even Teofimo Lopez. If I'm wrong on any of those names being kingpins in boxing, let me have it.
I mean, they're definitely prospects that are, on the rise. I like all the names that you mentioned. I'm just saying certain things happen that are unavoidable. I mean,
yeah, but are you putting those guys on the pound for pound list now, though, or are you just talking about the potential?
I guess he's saying that they will be in the future. Is that right, Ron?
No.
They are the future of boxing. Absolutely.
Yeah, okay, but pound for pound wise, who are you putting there? Just Tank?
On the pound for pound list right now, no. Yeah. Enro Spence, Terrence Crawford, T.O. may be in there at number 10 right now.
Okay.
But in my top guys are the obvious guys. Canelo Alvarez, Tyson Fury.
Right, but Rob,
the obvious picks.
Rob, but
okay.
The whole reason why I was asking you this because you did say that David Haney, Ryan Garcia, Tank are the future of boxing, and they're also pound for pound. And you said that because of what they do to their bodies. Now I don't know what they do with their bodies, but that's what I was telling you. I'm basing my pound for pound on proven facts, not on like potential. But to be fair, I'm gonna have to do for me to I forgot to say it there, but my pound for pound for me would be like a 70-30% ratio, where 70% is based on proven things that you've done, that you've proven in real life, and then 30% of potential of what could happen.
I can see that
scenario. You know what I'm saying? But the majority has to be based on something factual, something that actually happened, something that you actually done, not the potential or whatever you do to your body during training. You know, I can't have you pound for that.
CJ just said T.O. beat the number one guy, so he should be at least top 5.
Yeah, that's why I got him top 5. I said that.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I don't, but anywho.
We will tackle that a different day.
Nothing. We got
all I hope is if Davey Haney or Tank, right, since Robert's so high on them, if they lose, I just hope that Robert gives them the same treatment and is quick to dismiss them right away. No second chance like Lomachenko. And then I want to hear them say, overhyped, overrated. I knew it. It was too much. And all that.
But here's the thing. Listen, is they haven't even accomplished the 3 weight divisions yet. So you have a reason not to downgrade Lomachenko like you are. Like if Ryan Garcia loses now, okay, he can still rebuild. But but he's already not proven. You're throwing somebody that's already proved to you that he can win divisions and 3 titles, and not against just chumps, but actually beat the people who earn them titles. Not vacant titles, not Rocky Fielding, but real fighters.
Guys, I might want to use this as my my honey tweet of the week, whatever you call it.
Candy of the
week. Let's end it now tonight because people throwing in their own segment.
I love it.
Oh,
hey,
man.
everybody.
Well,
it was a good show. Yes. Love talking to everybody on this.
Yeah, Jules, I hope you come on more regularly. It seems to be a much better conversation.
Next week is a big show, just like we said. Next week, guys, is a big show. Jules, I expect you to be here.
I'll try to, Rob. I'm not making any promises. I will definitely try. But y'all got Sakura. Y'all don't need me. You got eye candy every week. Oh, y'all good. Y'all good.
Well, you scored some brownie points there.
That's what I'm talking about. Don't tell Emilio, though, all right?
But you are still not off the hook. We need you too.
All right, guys. For always, I'm your host, Robert Alexander. For Lucas Bigger, Shakura A, Javier, Jules. This was Tough Talk Tuesday. Good night.